I, yeah, I believe I sent it to you, Dr. Suhail. So maybe you have an idea. Okay. So the question here, it's raised a lot. Some Islamic terms makes like, you don't know what's the meaning of them, or the meaning that everybody have in their mind. I mean, for a quick second, it's different than if you dig deep. And it's sometimes like, it's not embarrassing, but it's hard to defend when the term kafir, who's the kafir, who's not kafir. And also, this is not an issue that we have. Other people, the perception they have about this is like, oh, these people consider everybody else outsider. So how to deal with these terms? Also, what I'm trying to say, if you dig deep in the Quran, if you go to the maqasid, or the major, or the foundations of the Quran, in the Quran itself, you cannot find that definition. I mean, as bad as we have it after the deformation or the derivatives that came from the fiqh. Derivative from the fiqh is totally deformed the meaning. So there's a lot of issues we have, like the jihad. I know we talked about this a lot, and you have different meaning based on the Quran, and like the jizya, hudud, a lot of stuff that makes people confused. I mean, and this is really still happening. It's not like a history, and there's lots of people still believe in the Khilafah. I was just reading another post on Facebook about Dar al-Islam, Dar al-Kufr, Khilafah and stuff, and they did not find ayat or clear hadith from Rasulullah. It's derivatives. It's like far connection. There is a connection, but it's far. And the connection may be weak, or maybe actually against the main foundational concepts of Islam. That's it.
I mean, this is big. This is a huge topic, because it is a result of the fragmentation of the deen and the loss of the essence of the deen. And therefore, people picked some bits and pieces and called them Islam. So everybody came up with their own version, and they're mostly very superficial. So there is no way to fix those vocabulary, those words, without putting everything in perspective, because especially this kufr in particular, it's causing a lot of problem, and it has really to be fixed from the roots. I mean, this misconception about exactly the question that you raised about who is the kafir, and how should we deal with the disbeliever, or the because if we fix the foundation, if we go back and establish that this religion is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a free choice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave people the choice, and did not assign anybody to judge anybody, did not assign anybody to convert anybody. Quran is very clear that even the Prophet, his job ends at delivery, balagh, mubin, that's it. You deliver. If we fix that, your mission in this world is not to convert people, is not to judge them, that's none of your business. That's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reserved for himself. That's not your job, and also you don't have the tools to do it, both. There is no way you can judge the belief of somebody, or their relationship with Allah, or what Allah is going to do with them. It's not your job, and you cannot do it, and you don't have the tools to do it. Your job, on the other hand, is serving, first of all, for you to be all you can be. That's what you need to be focusing on. Working on yourself to be a role model, to leverage and realize all the potential that Allah has given you. That's tazkiyah. Second, to help people around you becoming better people, not necessarily even believers, to be better people, to be better citizen, to be better parents, to be better spouse, to be better human, helping people becoming better people. And then to maximize your contribution to make this world a better place for everybody, to make it more fair, more just, more prosperous, etc., more peaceful, more secure. So you can see that's a huge task that Allah has assigned you. And it will take all the time you have, all the energy you have. Now, Muslims, they left this and they went to the job that that Allah said it's not your job. He reserved exclusively for him. So if we redefine, if we make it clear what is the mission of the believer, it's basically the working on your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on that iman, on that tawheed, because that requires work to be maintained, to be strengthened, to be upgraded, to be refreshed and renewed all the time so that it remains vibrant. Otherwise, like the Prophet says, it will wear down or wear out. It becomes yabla. So it's very important. That's major work. The working on your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the iman itself, and then working on yourself to be a better person, to be good, best ambassador of Islam, and helping people around you becoming better people. And that's two-way, by the way, street, because you learn from people while you're sharing your knowledge and expertise and advice. You also learn from them and work with people to serve the greater good. And that's it. Now, when it comes to da'wah, because that needs to be clarified, your job is to deliver the message in the best possible way, bil hikmah wal maw'id al hasan, with wisdom and the best reminder or advice. Now, how you translate that in today's world? The best way is by example. That's one. Second, by being prepared, if somebody becomes curious about your religion, to explain it to them. And again, we don't do that. We abandon what we are assigned the job to be the best ambassador of Islam, and also to know how to articulate it in the best possible way. Now, Muslims leave all of this. So much work need to be done, and then judge people. Who is kafir, who is not, what should we do with the kafir, and then after we take the kafir out, then among the Muslims, who is the good Muslim, who is the bad Muslim? Are these Muslims still, they are inside, or we kick them out? It's very, very silly. It's not our job, so no judgment. And then let's say you have a colleague or a neighbor, and then you interacted with them and you get an opportunity to talk to them about Islam, and they chose not to accept it. So what's the problem here? If you remember that your job ended there, then you say, okay, this is my brother in humanity, this is my fellow citizen, this is my neighbor or my colleague, etc. All these relationships are going to continue. We're going to continue with mutual respect, accepting each other, respecting each other, cooperating for the greater good, and that's it. That issue of religion, we agree that to disagree. We agreed that when it comes to religion, you presented Islam, he did not accept it. What's the point? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he wanted, he could have made everybody Muslim. He didn't. So he left for people to choose, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give people the freedom and to choose and then tell Muslim to go and judge them or force them to be Muslim. It's ta'ala Allahu an dhalika uluwan kabira. Allah will not do this. Allah will not say, people who are free, la ikraha fi din, it's free, you're free to choose. and then reveal for Muslim to tell them go and force them or judge them or kill them if they don't if they don't accept تعالى الله عن ذلك علوا كبيرا.
May I ask a question here?
Go ahead, Muhammad. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I fully agree with what you said because this is what the Quran says. But if we take that into perspective, how do we judge our history? Starting from Al-Futuhat al-Islamiyah, when Muslims started going out. We all know what they did. They went out and they said, either Islam or Jizya or war, harb. How do we judge that? Our grandfathers did that for hundreds of years. Were they wrong the whole time?
First of all, we have to be clear that Islam as a religion stopped after Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It means that everything after Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a human effort. It's not religion yet. And that doesn't apply to Futuhat or apply to the, no, applies even to Khilafah al-Rashida. Even Khulafa al-Rashidun, that's not religion. That is ijtihadat. It's a human ijtihadat or human effort. And why I'm saying this, because when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was still alive, Quran was revealed to say that this what you have done is right, what to the community to tell them this is right, this is wrong. You see a lot of Quran was revealed after the Battle of Badr, after Uhud, after Ahzab, after many incidents in Hijrah, etc. Quran was revealed to endorse things that the community have done or to fix it or to say this is wrong. After Hadithat al-Ifk, for example, when Aisha was accused of adultery, etc. So, but Quran after Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not revealed. So no Quran was revealed to endorse what everybody else has done after that. So we should make that distinction very clear, that anything that was done after Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam could not be taken as a religion. This is a human effort. And then when it comes to history, there is something that can help us dealing with our history, is stop calling it a history of Islam or Islamic history, and let's make sure that we always call it history of Muslims. Why this is important? Because when you say history of Islam, becomes like sacred.
Yes.
You cannot even criticize it. Everything is right, everything is rosy, everything, and if you criticize it, then you'll be in trouble. But if you say it's a history of Muslims, it's like ourselves today. We're doing some things right and we're doing some things wrong. We are not in the best possible shape as a community. And that was the case of our grandfathers and our ancestors. They were a human being. The history of Muslims had very bright spots, but also has very shameful and embarrassing spots. There was power struggle. There are heads being cut all left and right, even among themselves, not even with others. So we cannot take that as a reference. Whatever was done, it has to be taken in that context. Remember, at that time, there was no international law. There was no borders. There was no recognized borders. It was the era of empires, and every empire that is stronger expands. And the Muslim empire was not any different at that time. So it had some religious, by the way, sometimes it was exploited and abused by some rulers who were after worldly gain, but in order to mobilize people, they called them to do jihad. This is jihad fi sabilillah. It's like the Crusades. The Crusades were not religious. It was political, economic, but to mobilize people, you cannot mobilize them, fully mobilize them with political purpose or economic. So religion was used. And in the history of Muslims, a lot of time religion was used, but those rulers were not very religious. They were not very pious people. Those who were declaring jihad and mobilizing Muslims in the name of jihad to go and expand lot of them, they were not very pious people. So the best answer comes from the Quran. تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبتم ولا تسألون عما كانوا يفعلون. So تلك أمة, these people, they have done what they have done. Allah, they're responsible for it. It's not your responsibility what they have done. And by the way, I really wish that Muslims stop bragging about the accomplishment of their ancestors, because a lot of time this is taken as an alternative for us to accomplish anything. So when we are asked about what did you accomplish, what is your contribution to the world today, oh, so our ancestors did this and did that, and science and etc. So we are using it as if it's an excuse to justify our failure to contribute.
Yes.
They have done a lot of great things. They have done things that are not great. It's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair.
I just want to add, part of my question or comment was, there is foundational concepts or major maqasid in the Islam. And if you take these, if you try to analyze like the term of even kufr or the term of the history, Brother Muhammad, our guest today, he's just, I think the first time joining us, just mentioned, if we try to analyze this stuff to the major rule of Islam, of adl, of hurriya, of, adl is fair or justice, freedom and all that, it's clear in the Quran, it's very clear. You find different meaning than what was, with the meaning that reached to us. But it reached to us after a lot of filtration. And each time, these schools of fiqh will have its own filter. So the deformation happened into history. And until it reached us, it's totally, you look at adl and you look at what, how come Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put somebody in hellfire, because he's not Muslim today and he never seen the application of Islam. Can you call them kuffar? If you start calling them kuffar, then what's the difference between us and the people who think, oh, we are the chosen people because our mother is this so and so, and we are better than others. Why you are better? Just because like that. If we go back to the foundational maqasid of Islam, I think this is the best reference, or the best, I would say, answer or protection from these, or the best answer to these questions. Other than that, we will be, battling. Because everybody will say, oh, Abu Hanifa said that, Abu Shafi'i said that, so we will be lost again and again. But there's another thing we need to be careful about. Sometimes, if you are a projection or explaining Islam this way, you will be considered as or labeled as maybe Abrahamic religion, caller or somebody. So here we are in a not very comfortable place. You are defending Islam, but others consider you maybe outside, not outside, or you're trying to change Islam. And this, accusation is easy and ready to be labeled for anybody who does this. That's it.
Can I answer this, Dr. Suhail?
For sure.
Actually, Muhammad and I were yesterday in a meeting with the professor of Islamic studies. He's Indonesian, and he is visiting here several universities and lecturing. He was shocked when he and I were talking, and I was simplifying Islam based on my understanding of the Quran, the same understanding you and I have. Then he asked the question, how do you define kufr? It's not that simple. I said, why do you want me to define kufr? If somebody I'm encountering is not a Muslim at all, it's not my job to categorize him and put him in a particular hole somewhere. It's between him and his creator. I don't need to define kufr. Because whether someone is kafir or not does not require that I do anything. Historically, we were under the impression we need to fight kuffar. The Quran today, with my own maturity, I understand it, where it's not my job to fight anybody. My job is to represent Islam the best way I can, to be the change I want to show the others, to start with myself. This example that I'm proposing does not require that we define any of the terms. He said, well, how about Sharia? I said, which Sharia? Which Sharia you're asking me about? Are you asking me about the Sharia of the 9th century, the Sharia of the 11th century, of the Sharia of today? He said, what do you mean? I said, Sharia is supposed to be our laws facing the present that we are dealing with. Cannot be historic. So what Sharia do you want me to define? Based on the Quran, we're supposed to have laws we all live by. And those laws are not really up to scholars of religion. In a modern state, they should be up to a parliament. They should be up to the elected representative of the people to go back to the Quran, find out what are the best rules that we need to apply in our daily life, and come out with laws. Those laws, again, are man-made, based on the Quran, but therefore today. So they change with time and with place. We saw the same thing done by our, great scholars in Baghdad. They have one particular opinion about the same issue that they faced and were asked about in Egypt. Sharia will change based on place and time. People don't know this. I don't know if you all agree with me, but that's my opinion, and I have proofs for it. Sharia is not something constant. The Quran is constant. Our understanding of the Quran and application of rules is based on societal needs. So we don't need to go back and redefine the terms. We might need to disregard all these terms and stick to Quranic terminology. We don't need these terms today. Thank you. Yes, Brother Bashir.
Yes, I think Dr. Ghannouchi had a very good point that after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there is nothing new. Everything Muslims done are their own, unless they follow the Quran. And I think Dr. Safi mentioned very clearly that Sharia has to be changed based on today's situation. Unfortunately, what we are taught, or we are still regularly teaching in our masajid, that Sharia is based on the Quran and Prophet Muhammad saying it cannot be changed. And that's my major concern.
You're right.
Because our young children are ingrained with the thought, and to bring the change is a massive effort. And what I'm looking is, Dr. Kaskas, that how we can bring the change into our Islamic scholars who still strongly support that Sharia cannot be changed. That's my major concern I have. I think today, what you said today, I 100% agree. I feel that we have no right to say who is Muslim, who is not. If somebody is saying Muslim, okay.
Right.
We don't even have a right to say who is kafir, because that's between him and God. I think that's a very clear understanding. And I promote that idea, but I had same question you were asked. I was on the same thing. They
Yes.
spend a lot of time defining kafir. In
Yes.
fact, 20 years ago, we started a Islamic center, and there was a question, who should be the member? And they say Muslim should be the member. Then we stuck on the definition of Muslim, and we cannot conclude who is Muslim. So that basic change has to take place. And I have been struggling for 20 years, and I'm looking for your guidance that how we can do a collective effort to bring this change. I think your last comment was good. I think we need to stick to the Quran, and whatever our ulmas decided in 7th century, maybe they were right at that time.
Yes.
There was a reason for that.
Of
For
course.
example, suppose if they say apostasy laws, if somebody change the religion, they should kill. When people are small in number, they want to protect. And so they might have come to that decision. Today, we need to keep Muslims as Muslims. Don't worry about if they are leaving. If somebody wants to leave Islam, let them leave, because Islam is in your heart, not that somebody force you and you say kalma. That's not Islam. Islam has to be in your heart to practice your relationship with the God. So that message, what you are giving and what I have been thinking, is very, very important. And I am really looking forward to see how we can spread that message. Thank you.
And even for the sake of discussion, argument, the definition of a kafir is someone who really understood, was Islam presented to him in the best possible way and understood it very well, and then decided to reject it. That does not exist nowadays. That category does not exist because the people have very negative, there is a big image problem for Muslims nowadays and for Islam. So people have very negative image. Muslims are not the best ambassadors of Islam in the world. Muslim world is not a model to show for, to say, this is what Islam, go and take a look and you will see the manners of people and the corrective. So that's not there. So even if we take that definition of somebody who has understood Islam very well, like the people of Quraysh. The people of Quraysh, they knew exactly, because they mastered the Arabic language. They have the Prophet amongst them. They knew exactly what Islam is, and they decided to reject it. That category does not exist today. I mean, even for the sake of argument, that category does not exist.
True.
Because those who are not accepting Islam today, they are either they never heard about it, or they heard about it in a negative way. That's probably 99% of them. Almost all of them, they either didn't hear about it, never heard about Islam, or they heard about Islam in a negative way. So leave all of this. That's not our job, neither to convert, nor to judge, not to evaluate. Let's focus on our mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned to us. And there is so much work that needs to be done there that unfortunately we're not doing it. And then we are busying ourselves with things that Allah told us that's not our job. He told the Prophet repeatedly in Quran that you should not worry about people rejecting. فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ أَفَأَنْتَ تُكْرِهُ النَّاسَ حَتَّى يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Repeatedly, this was mentioned, that you're not, it's not your responsibility to convert them. And if they reject you or reject Islam, that should not be no problem for you. You should not worry about that. So repeatedly, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ أَلَّا يُؤْمِنُوا بهذا الحديث
إن لم يؤمنوا به.
هذا الحديث أسفا. And then على آثارهم in Surah Al-Shu'ara. So repeatedly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comforting Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, take it easy. Your job is to deliver the message in the best possible way. Whether they accept it or not, it's not your job to convert them. And you should not worry or stress yourself out just because they rejected the message. And look at the attitude of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He did not hate these people. He did not like interacted with them in any. He was feeling bad for them. Look at the level of compassion. He was so to the point that Allah will tell him, you shouldn't stress yourself out just because they rejected the message. That's the attitude that we need to revive. That compassionate attitude, that you really love for these people to know this message and to accept it out of compassion, not out of like you are superior or you are judging them. Out of loving the best for them, that should be the attitude. And any da'wah effort that is not ingrained in compassion, it's useless and it will backfire. It should be driven by compassion, by mercy and compassion. That's why you deliver the message. And then if they decide, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ, if they decide not to accept it, then that's it. Your job has ended. You continue with them with the other relationships. Brothers in humanity, fellow citizens, neighbors, colleagues, relatives, etc., in-laws. These are the relationships that should continue and should not be stopped and turned into hatred and animosity just because they did not accept Islam.
Dr. Suhail talked about what we shouldn't worry about. We shouldn't worry about who is a Muslim and who's a kafir. We shouldn't worry about whether the millions of our neighbors become Muslims or not. Let's talk about what we should worry about. This is what I'm concerned with.
Absolutely.
I am a mission-driven Muslim. The minute I declared myself as a Muslim, I became a person with a mission. What is that mission? Two things, tazkiyah and islah. When it comes to me personally, I have to enhance myself to become the best I can be. And I do this through studying the Quran and maybe focusing on everything that's positive, like Asma Allah al-Husna. In order for me to have a relationship with my Creator, I have to understand Him. So I focus on who He is, and I know I will learn who He is through learning what He made available to me about His own character. So it's twofold. I should become the best I can be, the best useful man for myself and for my neighbor. That's the islah. I work on my children, my grandchildren, and on my next door neighbor, and then the further neighbor, and so on. So twofold. We need to be positive examples in our environment. People should say, if they need any help, go to this guy. He's a Muslim. That means he will help you. He loves you regardless whether he knows you or not. He's out there for you because you are his brother in humanity. And this is a mission that we need to work very hard on because we're nowhere from it right now. Our image for the rest of the world is not something positive at all. In order to have a positive image, we need to start with ourselves and start building on that.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Dr. Ghannouchi and Dr. Bashir and Dr. Safi, thank you for the great advice. One thing I want to mention is that maybe we should start some type of, I guess, guide for Islamic lectures or khutab at mosques across the US, because I've been going to a lot of mosques, and the only imam that talks about tazkiyah is Dr. Ghannouchi. So that is something that I think a lot of Muslims need to hear, is that part of our mission is to do tazkiyah, self-reflection.
Yeah.
And one thing about self-reflection, it's not easy. So what I think some Muslims engage in is basically looking at others instead of looking at themselves, and that's not probably a Muslim problem. It's probably a human problem. where, it's easier to criticize people than to look inward and do self-reflection, self-correction. So that's why I think some people engage in that, where, they look at others. Okay, I'm going to try to define him as kafir. I'm going to define him as a, disbeliever. Whereas, self-reflection is needed, to work on, oneself is needed, tazkiyah. So maybe there should be some kind of, I guess, I don't want to call it a think tank, but maybe a new website. Somehow, we can reach, set the standard, a guide for imams across the U.S. to follow. Something very simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Hey, focus on tazkiyah. We can give continually update, our guide to the imams across the U.S. So that's my
It's
recommendation.
clear what you're saying, brother Ayman. It's very clear. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to say, because I don't want Dr. Suhail to say it. I've been watching his khutbas, and whether he wants it or not, we have them on video, and we're gonna need a volunteer among us to write them down if he doesn't have them written down. And then we need to publish them. And this is not a huge project. It's something that can be done. I believe there is a value in these khutbas. They are practicable. We can, each one of us, after listening to them, try to turn them into a program that we live by. And this way we can become better Muslims and can be noticed for that Islam among our neighbors and environments and people that are around us. But we need to start from somewhere. I agree with you. We should have a program. Let's start by taking these khutbas that already exist. They are already videos. Write them down, put them together, maybe on a website if you like, and that should include also these discussions that are recorded now. And I think that can be a beginning of something positive, not just for us, but for anybody who watched them. We can only direct people to see this positive effort and hope they will emulate it. This is my opinion. It's up to you to support it or not to support it, but that's my opinion. Yes, Dr. Bashir.
Yeah, I strongly support it because I have watched some videos, but it will be hard to remember. But if we transcribe that,
yes,
and then I think there will be several, but out of those transcriptions, if you can summarize as one khutbah, which giving the salient features, just like today we talk about it.
yes.
How you define Muslim? Is
Yes.
it our responsibility to convert, or is it our responsibility to have a state? Because recently I have read several articles where great Muslim leaders saying that Muslims must establish their state. I don't think Quran has said that, but they are very focused about that. So I think there are some misunderstandings based upon our history, not Quran, and that misunderstanding has to be cleared. And I think the only way to do it, if we transcribe, publicize. So I wholeheartedly support Dr. Kaskas, what you just mentioned. Let us start that project.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Inshallah. Brother Ayman, did you want to say something? You had your hands up. Ayman Aude.
Oh, no, that's a great recommendation you made, Dr. Safi. I agree with Dr. Bashir that a summarized version, something maybe a quick read in 2-3 minutes, and then people can, go in depth into
Yes.
the lecture.
Yes. Dr. Suhail, do you agree with what was mentioned?
جزاكم الله خير يا أخي. يعني, of course, I agree. Anything that can be done to spread the word.
Yes.
And even before that project, which is a great idea and a great project, but also there is something that is easier, or we can start with it right away, which is anybody who sees value in those khutbah, just share them. I mean, and send them to friends, saying
We're
that
already doing this. We are already doing this.
yeah, I'm
This is-
recommending for everybody to say that I really invite you to listen to these khutbah and to follow these
Yes.
Jumu'ah.
Yes.
Especially if somebody comes to you and complains about the Jumu'ah they attend,
Yes.
that will be a good opportunity for you to tell them, okay, I mean, keep going to the masjid you're going to, but I have this for you that you can listen to it or watch it every Jumu'ah.
Here is my witness, Muhammad Al-Habbal. He's with us today, and he's here because I told him what you just said.
Inshallah.
In the meantime, ya akhi, let me say in front of everybody, I've been delivering khutbahs all my life. I shouldn't say all my life. I should say from the 70s until now. And I see that Dr. Suhail is doing a great job preparing his khutbahs. Khutbahs are not written in half an hour. Khutbahs are in this case, are the result of a lifetime of experience capsulized in this khutbah. But to have one khutbah after the other reinforcing the other and taking us one step forward, this puts tremendous responsibility on him, and shame on us if we don't make use of this.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do dua for Allah to show us a path, and when he show us the path, we act like we didn't see it. No, we're not going to do this. I'm for one, I'm not going to do this. We will need volunteers in this group. We will need to take those videos and write them down in full, or maybe in a shorter form or whatever, in order to share them with each other and with other people, inshallah.
Allah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We need to explain why the view on YouTube for Dr. Suhail Ghannouchi is less than 10 views. It's not just with Dr. Suhail, Dr. Salah As-Sawi, he put YouTube, same thing, 15, 20. It's very few views. What is the reason behind it?
Do you want me to tell you? Because I have experience with YouTube. I have the same problem with my own YouTube channels. When you're not controversial, you have less people watching you. When you are speaking intellectually, you have even less people watching you. And if you want numbers, you have to talk about something controversial. I know for a fact, I can get 1 million views probably if I start talking today about the Sahaba, who was good, who was bad, who I'm with, who I'm against. Well, Muslim would love to hear this, and they will all come and watch it, and it will continue to build until it has 1 million viewers. But we don't want to do that. We want to use a word of mouth, nasiha, recommendation, all the good means to try to spread the contents of these khutbahs, because they are worthy of being spread around. And we might need to explain what they mean. The other day I was discussing with a friend the two elements of the mission a Muslim should have, and the person didn't find that to be exciting. He thought that we talk about this all the time. We've been hearing this since we were children. I said, yes, but not as missions for our life. Of course, you heard about Tazkiyat al-Nafs. If you read the Quran, you heard the ayahs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that the Prophet comes here, yuzakkikum, or yuzakkihim. But the words are known, but you need to put it in context. You need to make it a part of your own life, a way to live. You need to ask yourself every day, am I at the end of the day today better than what I was in the morning? How did the Quran help me? How did my prayer and my focus on my prayer made me a better human being, made me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, made me more beneficial to people around me? This is tazkiyah. So the word itself, yes, we know the word. The meaning of the word and adopting it as a way of life to be the best we can be is new, you know? And maybe we need to explain all this, not just give the khutbah to somebody and say, take it and listen to it. We need to talk about implications. I don't know. Maybe Dr. Suhail can add to this.
Well, it's first of all, it probably is not accurate, the number, because you're having people who attend the Jumu'ah, and they don't need to go and watch any video or anything. But to answer your question, is there was no effort done to promote the message or the channel or whatever. I mean, the message itself, like Dr. Safi said, it's not very attractive because it doesn't tell people what they want to hear. It doesn't basically make people happy with the status quo. It's a challenging message, so it's not attractive. The only way it can spread around is by word of mouth of people who are convinced with it, and then they share it with a friend or somebody who's close and say, I strongly recommend that you listen to this because this is what I've been attending these lectures or these Jumu'ah, and that's what they have done to me, and etc. So one is there was no real effort. And even if one start, probably starting point will be have a group of young people and try to make sure, first of all, that the video reaches everybody who prays in Jumu'ah. That's the minimum, that to get those who attend to Jumu'ah to share their information or their contact information or whatever, and therefore have access to it. So this video reaches those. And then somehow that's probably I should do it, is to encourage people, saying that it is your responsibility. If you see something that has a value or beneficial, it's your responsibility to share it. So then we go from the couple hundreds or few hundreds who attend the Jumu'ah into the larger circle. But that requires a consistent effort or persistent effort. It's not like, for example, one-time announcement or one-time flyer or whatever, but it requires, especially this social media, it needs like a group of young people who take this job and say, let's have a plan. And let's first of all make sure that we get this channel or the video or the recording to everyone who has attended. And then let's encourage people to share it with their networks.
I would like to add to this. Look, the audience here, we'll start with you, Dr. Suhail. You've been doing this for a while. You have a book, you're doing a lot of research. It's not like just you woke up and start talking. This took a lot of efforts. That's Dr. Safi. He's been doing a lot of work. He wrote a lot of books too. And he has Iqra studies. And look at Dr. Bashir, he wrote a book and he's been doing research. It's not like it's a lifetime research. And the rest of the people here is not just anybody came from the street. So to come up and to reach out to these conclusions and ideas is not an easy thing. People will start maybe with basic ideas. They want how to make wudu, how to do the salah, especially in America. And lots of people don't care. I mean, it's normal. Even at Sayyidina Muhammad time, at the first message, when Sayyidina Muhammad came, who was like the real people, the people with the real iman and strong iman and the strong tazkiyah? It was just a few. The rest of them will be maybe just they need some money here, some maybe in the a governor or ruler or something. And but usually the people who come up to these ideas is not everybody. I know there is a lot. I mean, if we search more, like we have this our brother Muhammad from are you from Texas or from where? I don't know, but it's not.
Houston,
There is
Texas.
Texas. No, so I mean, we can find more. I think we can gather this effort and make it like a national and maybe international. But we need to work more. I'm sure there is more in Texas. Can join us, Brother Muhammad can invite, and we have more in Virginia but this lecture is not just a lecture. You know, when I write my comment in the morning or the day, I was maybe thinking about it the whole night or the whole week. It's not just I put some words next to each other. There is something happened in front of me or read something related to what we discuss in this meeting. Then I will try to make it relevant to what we are discussing. And of course, relevant to the core ideas of Islam. Thank you.
But it's I agree that new messages that are that challenge the status quo
Yes.
and challenge the topics that are taboos,
Yes.
that people take them for granted. Message that try to affect major change, fundamental change, usually are not received well in the beginning, because you are trying to get people out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
It's like you come to someone who is addicted to drugs or addicted to painkillers, and you want to take them out of that and then seek real cure and confront the reality and seek real treatment or get rid of this habit. That's not easy. People were told that Islam is just to pray, fast, something on the side, very convenient, don't commit fornication and etc. And you're good, then don't drink. And that's all what is needed from you. And you come and to tell them that no, there is a huge task that was abandoned, and that's the one that is the essence of Islam, and that Allah has selected you for something big and to be the one who execute his plan and understand his plan and execute it, and work on yourself to be the best you can be or all you can be, maximize your contribution to the greater good and to achieve the purpose of Allah, the ultimate purposes of Islam. That's big. That's going to be really very shocking for people. So we have to admit that this kind of message are not easy to propagate to begin with. But at the same time, I don't think we're doing enough, because each one of us has a network. And because of the nature of the message, this is not something that you just mention it once to your friends or send them an email or share a khutbah or share a discussion recording, and that's it. No, this is something that we need to be hammered. This is the kind of message that has to be delivered with the seriousness that it deserves or requires. Like basically, you tell your friend or someone, you know, I need to meet with you to tell you about something. And then this is what happened. Through my efforts and through joining this groups, etc., you tell your friend that through your reading, through your efforts, through what you learned in this group, in the Jumu'ah, etc., I came to rediscover my religion, that Islam is really much more inspiring and much more empowering and much greater than what we were told. And I want you to go through the same experience. Can you join us? I can share with you videos, and you can join us on Sunday, etc. I'm not saying that if you do it that way, you're going to be 100% successful. It never happened and never will. But you're going to get some success. The ratio that Rasul ﷺ mentioned, it's like 1%. So الناس كإبل مئة لا تكاد تجد فيها راحلة. These people, these pioneers that you're looking for, and they don't have to be very intellectual, by the way. There were very simple people who were pioneers in great movements of change in history. But it's the level of commitment and dedication. And I can tell you that from recent experience, Muslims, a lot of them, yes, they're comfortable where they are, but also they start looking for something. People are more ready to receive nowadays the need for change and the need for big change. It used to be much more difficult before because everything is going from bad to worse and almost everything was tried. So people nowadays, they are either they fall in despair completely, hopeless, or they are really yearning for something new, for a new vision, for a new message, for etc. So don't underestimate your effort because that's how it has happened all the time. At the time of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the key to the success of that movement is the solid core group around the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who used to, when they join, they immediately go back and start working on their circles. And the greatest example is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, who brought 6 or 7 in the first couple of days to the group, to the core group or to the movement. So that's what we need to do. I mean, and you should be willing and ready to accept rejection. People can make fun of you. People will tell you that you are dreaming. People will tell you this is bid'ah, this is new religion, you are drifting out. You should be ready for all of that. We're not better than Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who met with all of this kind of resistance and people making fun of him and harassment.
Dr. Bashir is getting ready to leave. Before he leaves, I want to set for ourselves a measurable objectives. Next Sunday, I don't know how many people are watching right now, but we can, I mean, somebody knows that number. Next Sunday, we need to double this number. And this is not very hard.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Will be no class next Sunday.
No class?
Invited somewhere else and he has to be out of town.
I wanted to double the number and you eliminated the whole class.
Just for next Sunday. I apologize, you know.
Inshallah.
I think
Inshallah.
we still can meet, if you don't mind. I think we have a new
Abu
guest.
Abdullah, we can still meet, ya akhi.
Probably we can go
have a
online.
momentum
We
here.
will check with
shouldn't
Dr.
stop
Suhail.
the momentum.
We will see the environment. We are going out of town and we will see if the environment allow us to be online, we can join for a few minutes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We have a new guest with us, Dr. Muhammad Ghosha from Jerusalem, from Al-Quds.
MashaAllah.
Are you with us? Dr.
Yes,
Ghosha?
yes, I'm with you.
MashaAllah.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good evening from Jerusalem. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Show us your face on the camera, Doctor. أهلا وسهلا أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا
دكتور
أهلا.
محمد غوشة أصغر مؤرخ في تاريخ القدس.
ما شاء الله.
وهو مؤلف الانسيكلوبيديا بالستينيكا 29 مجلد.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
وهو اللي وثق الجامع الأقصى، كل بلاطة كل حجر في الجامع
English, Dr. Safi, please.
موثق عنده في كتاب.
ما شاء
وجاي
الله.
يزورنا إن شاء
English,
الله
English.
آخر رمضان بإذن الله.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. نسعد.
سيكون شرف كبير لي والله. شكرا جزيلا دكتور صافي.
بتشرفنا والله.
الله يجزيك خير.
الله يبارك فيك من لطفك. شكرا شكرا.
أبو عبد الله.
Can I say something to end my participation today?
Okay.
This is for everyone. Me and Dr. Safi are good friends and we talk all the time. But I think it was last week we had this discussion, long discussion. And I want to repeat something that we talked about, which is very important. I believe that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam brought a revolution to this world.
Mhm.
This revolution took place 1500 years ago. It changed everything.
Mhm.
Now, Muslims for the last, I don't know, 1,000 years have been stagnant, have been going downwards, except for only a few good moments.
Mhm.
Muslims need a revolution. Muslims
Mm.
need to redefine, re-understand the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will go one step further. The
Mm.
world needs a revolution. The
Mm.
world is moving very quickly into a cliff. We are all watching the news every day, and we're walking very close to World War III, which could be the end of humanity. The world needs a revolution. The world needs the revolution of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What we are talking about today are small ideas to define, to identify this revolution. We need it. I need it. You need it. The world needs it. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair.
جزاكم الله خيرا.
Great comment. And that's exactly the way of thinking that we need to propagate and promote, and for Muslims to realize that not only they need to change their situation, but the world needs them. And the world is in really bad need for people to lead and to save humanity from the so many destructive phenomena that are taking place.
Yes,
That's the role that Allah has chosen for us.
for us.
We are not chosen people, but we were chosen for a great mission. And if we abandon that mission, then we lose the special status. So we don't have special status because of our ethnicity or because of our nationality or anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chosen people for great mission, but did not choose an ethnic group or national group. Whoever accepts that mission becomes part of that, deserve that special status and honor. So Jazakallah khair, Brother Muhammad, excellent comment, and I hope that we all contribute to spread the word for the need for Muslims to rediscover their great faith that was lost and to resume their great role to be, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to be, a model community and a leading community. Ummatan wasata, khayra ummah. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have to live up to those expectations and to that honor and responsibility.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes. If you go back to the Quran, there is a clear ayah where وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. So the ayah means not only for Mecca or the Arab or even Muslims, for the universe. And the universe can be actually not more than Earth. We don't know what universe. Maybe it's kind of unlimited. And if you look at the other ayah where أنزلنا الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. So Quran did not talk about ليقوم المؤمنين أو المسلمين. No, it's general. It's for everybody to live in a just or fair life. So the message of Quran, really, everybody needs it. But the problem is we need to clear that. We need to be aware of it ourselves, because sometimes we think, as everybody mentioned in this meeting, we think, Islam is just, do some rituals, maybe some clothing, some worships and stuff. No, it's more than that. If you take this message or this mission, then the mission is really huge, and the mission needs to reach to everybody. I think if we reach to the intellectual people all over the place, then maybe they can adopt this mission. Then sometimes we don't want them to become Muslim. They can take the message or the mission and work with it and become they're a real Muslim without calling themselves Muslims.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. So let it be among you people, group, a community who calls for everything that is good. Khair here involves anything that is beneficial in this life and in hereafter. That's what is meant by helping people becoming better individuals and better people. But to come back to Brother Muhammad's point, that and both Muhammad, There are verses in Quran that sometimes we don't pay attention to them, and they are very foundational. I'm going to mention a verse that was mentioned twice, once in Surah Al-Baqarah and once in Surah Al-Hajj. And I don't know why this is not taking the attention that it deserves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. We have made you into a balanced nation or ummah, justly balanced, that you might be witnesses over the nation, and the messenger is a witness over yourselves. And then it was repeated at the end of Surah Al-Hajj. This is Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 143. وفي هذا ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس. It is, and then that the messenger may be a witness for you, and you will be witness for mankind, humanity, mercy to humanity. What I understand from here is that the role of Muslims among humanity should be similar to the role of the Prophet among Muslims, to be role model and leading by example, and mercy. So Rasul ﷺ was uswa and rahmah. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. Rahmah, mercy to humanity. You, if you are serious about following Muhammad ﷺ, you should develop yourself into a role model for the people around you, and you should be mercy to the people around you. And we as a community, the whole community, if we want to be like the prophetic community, then we have to be a model community and then a leading community, because that's the role of the Prophet among Muslims, was a role model and leader, teaching and uplifting. يزكيهم ويعلمهم كتابه والحكمة. The role of Muslims among nations should be that, but that's something that you earn. It's not an entitlement. If you don't make the effort, you lose it. Nowadays, we are nowhere close to that. So we should not claim that we are coming to teach humanity while we are in this terrible shape. We have to live up to that expectation and do not make the mistakes of others who say that we are chosen nation because of who we are. No, you are chosen because of what you do. And if you don't do what you're expected to do, then you lose that special status. The status of Muslims is to be mercy to humanity, is to be contributing. Wherever we settle, we should help solving problems. We should help people around us. That people in the United States, for example, they can point to local and state and national problems that Muslims helped solving them. That we used to have these problems, but when the Muslim community settled here, they are gone. They were, because they managed to solve, and this is what is our contribution to the greater good. So it's very important to, again, the verse in Surah Al-Baqarah 143 and Al-Hajj, it's the last verse, verse 78, that يكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس. It's making it very clear that your role among people should be the same like the role of the Prophet amongst you.
So that means Muslims will be asked at the day of judgment about their rule, if they did it or not. So there's accountability issue here. It's not only if we did the Salah and the Hajj, and we know only the 5 pillars of Islam, but what about the other pillars? Because I know the time is maybe there's no enough time, but maybe another time we can talk about the rules that, or the thing we need to, the responsibility we have, not only the 5 pillars of Islam. Thank you.
If I may say something about the 5 pillars of Islam. In Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. The 5 pillars of Islam, the way they were defined by our ancestors, Jazahumullah khair, were mostly rituals. يعني صلاة وصيام وعبادات. My understanding, this is like the gasoline needed to run the car. This is isti'ana. This is how we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the strength to walk the path. Most Muslims today think that if you do this ibadat, you are free. That's it. You have done what you are supposed to do and you are going to Jannah straight, very quickly. It's opposite. It's like a car, you keep filling it with gasoline, but you never move it. You agree with me?
I love this example, Brother Muhammad, because I use it all the time.
Thank you.
And just to confirm what you said, and I use this gasoline and I use the cell phone charging, that you don't buy your cell phone to charge it, you charge it to use it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and subhanAllah, to confirm what you said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not prescribe these rituals until in Medina. Just for us, so that we don't fall in that trap and we reduce Islam to just a couple of rituals. So these rituals were prescribed in Medina. Many Muslims do not know that fasting, zakat, hajj were prescribed in Medina. And even khamr, alcohol, was forbidden in Medina. So what was Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam doing in Mecca? He was doing what we're discussing here, the essence of Islam, that commitment to big mission, that full commitment to big mission that Muslim had, that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was inviting Muslim to do. And then these rituals came to support them in that mission. So there are things that are forbidden because they are distraction, and there are things that were prescribed because they can recharge your batteries, and you can, because the mission is huge, there is a lot of resistance, there is a lot of sacrifice. You need that energy, that spiritual energy that comes from prayer, comes from the rituals, and then once a year in Ramadan, and once in a lifetime in Hajj, etc. You need that so that you keep that iman vibrant, and you can get the strength to face all the challenges and the resistance that you can face. And that's one of the best descriptions of the companions of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was كانوا رهبانا بالليل فرسانا بالنهار. They are, and during the day they were on a mission. That's the mission that we're talking about. And at night they recharge their batteries, Qiyamul Layl, Dhikr, Quran, etc., so that they can, it's like you put your cell phone to charge at night so that you can use it during the day. That's exactly what, unfortunately, Muslims turn things upside down. What was prescribed to strengthen them became, that's the Islam. And they abandoned the job that was assigned to them.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Any other questions? Does anybody have any question? Alex, do you have a question? Okay.
I think if nobody has any question, we can leave early today, and inshallah we'll try to come online on next Sunday, inshallah, at 12 noon.
Inshallah.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, brother.
May Allah keep you all safely.
Inshallah.